So we tied the Bengals. At least we didn't lose. But if you tie the Bengals, I consider it a loss, as anybody should. Plain and simple. Wentz didn't have the best of days once again. In fact, he didn't have the best. He's not having the best of seasons because as of right now, him and Kirk Cousins are the two worst quarterbacks in the league. That's awful. Wentz today, 225 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 picks, 3 sacks, and a 62.8 QBR. That's not good, especially when you're getting paid like $32 million annually. In case you don't know, he's getting paid like 18 this year. He ran the ball 9 times for 65 yards and a touchdown. So in other words, just kind of looked like Michael Vick out there, only he wasn't. But Greg Ward, he was our best receiver technically. He had the most receptions, most yards, and the only touchdown reception. 8 catches, 72 yards, 1 touchdown on 11 targets. In my opinion, of all the wide receivers, take out the tight ends. I think Greg Ward is our most reliable receiver, and he's our slot wide receiver who was also on the practice squad. So, anyway, Ertz, 7 catches, 70 yards on 10 targets. I think for the Eagles, I don't want to give a player of the game, especially like when you lose or tie, but I'm going to have to because I have to do it every week. Our player of the game this week, I think, should be Brandon Graham. 2 sacks, 4 tackles. Him and Derek Barnett were the same, but I think Brandon Graham gave the most pressure. Seems like he was always there. So, player of the game, I think, is Brandon Graham. Carson Wentz just struggled today. 2 picks. The first 3 weeks of the season, he has thrown 6 interceptions. Just so you know, in case you didn't know this, last year, 2018 and 2017, he's thrown 7 interceptions in each of their seasons. And he played 13 games. 2017, he threw 7 picks. He played another 13 games and threw 7 picks. He then played all 16 games last year and still threw 7 picks. This year, he has played 3 games and threw 6 picks. If you want to do the math, if he's throwing 2 interceptions a game, he's going to throw 32 picks. That's Jameis Winston stats right there. Even worse, actually. I don't know what's going on with Wentz. I'll talk about that in a little bit because as of right now, I have this all organized. Let's talk about Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts, he saw a few snaps in the shotgun. His first play, it was read option. He didn't do bad at all. He did fumble the ball a bit. That's the thing with the Eagles. I just don't get it. Jalen Hurts didn't do bad. He didn't throw the ball. I want to see him throw the ball. So, I'm hoping to see that next week. And, oh God, don't even get me started on that. The thing I didn't like about the game was, of course, Tyler Boyd had 10 catches on 125 yards. Joe Burrow threw 2 touchdowns. He had almost 315 passing yards. He did get sacked 8 times. But the people that destroyed us today were T. Higgins and Tyler Boyd. If you want to, Joe Burrow too, actually, because that thing he did to T.J. Edwards was just nasty. Even though it got called back, that was nasty. He just literally did a little spin and friggin' broke the dude's ankles. Anyway, the thing I didn't like about the game, though, was Doug's decision on not kicking the field goal. In case you don't know this, Doug Peterson is the biggest risk taker of all the coaches in the league. He takes the most risks. He's the most aggressive coach in the NFL. He's always going for it on fourth down. We all know this, Eagle fans. Of course, call bubble screens. I just didn't like that idea. We had a 59-yard field goal. We were ready to kick a 59-yard field goal, but Matt Pryor decided to shake his little ass. His little, I guess he's Hawaiian, I don't know. Little Hawaiian ass, but if he is, decided to do the little hula and such. Cost us 5 yards, which would turn it into a 64-yard field goal. Now, Jake Elliott made a 61-yard field goal. But that's not the only thing. The Eagles had the wind supporting them. They had the wind to their back, meaning it's going to help them. The ball would go a little further. But no, Doug Peterson, this is where you would actually be aggressive. You want to be conservative, be like, nah, I don't want to kick it. His reason is because if you miss it, you give the Bengals the ball at midfield. I understand that to some point, but trust your kicker. Jake Elliott has a strong leg, and you have the win. Just trust your kicker. But instead, they take a delay of game on top of that. So, in other words, they lost 10 yards basically, and then they just punted it. The Bengals, they took a knee, just said, you know what, tie game. So I didn't like that decision. Like, screw it, just kick it. If he makes it, good. If he misses it, I don't even see them getting like a touchdown or field goal. Honestly, they didn't have any timeouts. And what players usually do, like the kicker, like if Elliott kicked it, it's gonna take at least 3-4 seconds off the clock because this is a long ass field goal. It's gonna take off like 3 to 4, at least 3 seconds off the clock. But then if you miss it, oh well, they get the ball at midfield, but they don't have a timeout, so you have what, like 13 something seconds. They can't get it out of bounds. They don't have any timeouts. They don't have to get out of bounds. And if anything, when you tackle them, just stay on them for like a couple seconds. Take some more time off. Because then, if they make a field, I don't know. I would have gone for the field goal. Anyway, Wentz, like I said, he didn't do well this week. Like he did the previous 2 weeks. He just wasn't himself, missing easy throws. I don't know. I don't know what the issue is. But in case I didn't know this, I've said that, 3-4 times now. Once, almost like when they had this whole COVID opt-out thing, he almost opted out this season, in case I didn't know that. And I think the reasoning that came in his head to give him that thing, like, should I opt out or not, I think it has something to do with the way he's playing. I think whatever gave him that idea on potentially opting out is affecting his play because he's not himself. Once, yeah, there are times where he throws 2 picks a game, but he doesn't throw them back-to-back weeks. It's just not like him. And like I said, this is a dude who's the past 3 years has thrown 7 picks a season. He's had 6 in 3 games. I don't know what the issue is, but I really do think the reason he almost opted out is the same reason why he's not performing well. That's what I think. But we'll never know. If the next 3 weeks, oh my gosh, we are screwed. We go against the Niners next week. Now, I understand half their team is hurt. Don't get me wrong. Half the team is hurt, but still. We took the Bengals to overtime. How are we gonna beat the Niners in San Francisco? Come on. Then the next week we play the Ravens. We're gonna get smoked. 49-10. I'm calling that right now. And then we go against the best defense in the league right after the Ravens. I feel like it's almost like the Texans. But the Texans, they had it worse. Their first 3 weeks, they had to go against the Chiefs, Ravens, and the best defense in the league, the Steelers. That's tough. Two of the best offenses in the league. Then, right after that, you go against the best defense in the league. They couldn't catch a break. They're 0-3, but I don't think they are I don't think the record shows because, like I said, they went against two great offenses and the best defense in the league. So, got a feel for the Texans, but the Eagles, they're just screwed. By week 8, I honestly don't see us winning like 3 games. I think we win 2. I honestly don't even know who are the other 2 teams we play against, but it's not good. So we are going to be like 2. We're going to be like 2-4-1 at like mid-season. Sorry. Deshaun Jackson, Jesus, dude. 2 catches on 11 yards. Messed up his hamstring. They said it shouldn't be serious, but the dude's getting hurt all the time. I don't know why. Like, you're supposed to be our number 1 receiver, but yet he's always getting hurt, and even when he's healthy, he's not on the field like 80% of the time. He's like, his snap count, he's been on the field for like 70-something% of snaps, when this dude should be getting like at least 85, especially if you're getting paid $10 million a year and you're the number 1 receiver on top of that. I don't know. My season prediction for the season at this rate, we are going to go like 5-10-1. I saw us, like, after the Rams game, I saw us going like 6-10. But after we tied the Bengals, of all teams, it's going to be worse. Much worse. Oh well. Do not be surprised if we go through a rebuild this season. Players are getting older. We're in cap hell. We're over the cap by $84 million next season. I did make a list on potential people that will potentially leave. I'm not saying I want them to leave, but I'm looking at it at a business perspective, because that's the NFL. It's a business. So sorry, mouth's dry. So I'm gonna go to that list right now. So here are my players we probably won't see after 2020. I do not see Deshaun Jackson in an Eagle uniform next season. His contract is going through next season, but I think we're cutting him. Which is, like I said, we don't have the money. I do not see Deshaun Jackson coming back next year. The dude can't stay on the field. He missed 14 games last season. Jeffrey, I love him. The dude gets overhated because of these rumors about him bashing Wentz, even though there's no actual source or evidence proving that, because it's always like, it's anonymous. Whoa! And then you have clown people that are like, oh, I'm just going to believe that just because somebody says it. Yeah, fuck you. But seriously though, Alshon, he's not doing well. Like, he's always getting hurt. Sad to say. He will help our offense a little bit when he comes back. He just started practicing again, but I don't see him coming back next season. He's supposed to be getting $18 million next season, and like I said, we're over the cap by 84. I don't see him coming back next season. Another one, I'm going to get a lot of hate on this, or I should say a lot of disagreement. Zach Ertz. Now, to back it up, I noticed they're rotating tight ends in and out. Ertz is not seeing as many snaps as he usually does. And there's so many reports, and even coming from Ertz himself, contract negotiations aren't going anywhere. Apparently Howie and earlier, probably a few weeks ago, Ertz and Howie Roseman got into a heated conversation about contract talks. Ertz even said nothing is getting done. And apparently, Ertz turned down a contract last season. The most recent offer, which was this year, is even cheaper. So, based on all that I just said, I will not be surprised if he's not in an Eagle uniform next season. I'm not saying we're going to cut him, because that would just be simply foolish. If we're getting rid of him, wow. Guys, if you see number 89 on the Packers with that amazing touchdown grab, that's what I just saw. Anyway, Ertz is probably going to get traded after this season. Unfortunately, it's probably going to be the case. I mean, I don't know why they're in such a rush for an extension. Like, he has, like, what? 2 more years or something until last year of his contract. I think next year is his last year on his deal. And you know what else is funny? So is Goddard's. Our two tight ends, their contracts expire after next season. So Ertz is probably going to get traded. If I had to pick one to re-sign, it'd have to be Goddard. Goddard's younger. I'm looking at the future now because, like I said, we're rebuilding. I don't want to bring Zach Ertz back. Don't get me wrong, top 3 tight end in the league, but he's getting older, and contract negotiations aren't going anywhere. Now, next one, and you'll be surprised when I say it, but after I tell you, you'll be like, oh, probably. Jason Kelce. I'm not saying we're going to cut him. I just think he's retiring after this season because there were multiple reports last season. There were multiple reports before the draft this year that he may retire, that he was talking to his family about retiring, but he chose to come back. I think he's retiring. I think he's retiring after this season, especially how the season is playing out right now. So, yeah, Kelce, we're probably not going to see next year due to retirement. Brandon Graham, we may not see next year, but that's only if he doesn't take a. That's if he doesn't renegotiate his deal, like reconstruct his deal. Because right now he's set to make $18 million next year. I don't see him going into next season making that much money. I think Howie's going to restructure that. But if they do not get that restructured, I really think he's going to be gone too. Because look, if they let go of Jenkins, they're probably going to let go of Brandon Graham too. I mean, don't get me wrong though. Yeah, Malcolm Jenkins got owned by the Raiders. He was getting abused. But I don't want to see Brandon Graham go, but from a business perspective, if he doesn't want to renegotiate that contract, I'm gonna have to say, look, I love you. You've done so much for this team, but this is a business. I'm gonna have to let you go. I'm sorry. So that I don't see him coming back if we don't renegotiate his deal, like if we don't reconstruct his deal, restructure his deal. I meant. I don't see him coming back next season. And we almost lost him 2 years ago too. After we lost to the Saints, there were already multiple reports that he may not come back. That may have been his last Eagles game. But thankfully, Harry worked his magic. 3 years, $30 million? I forget the deal, but still. Malik Jackson, I think, could be gone. The dude, he got hurt last year. This year, I haven't seen him do anything yet, and he's set to make almost $14 million next year. I don't see Howie bringing him back. Sorry. Jason Peters is not going to come back. Look, the dude should just retire already.